I want to break down what the NASM OPT phase one, and pretty much all the phases, but especially just phase one, how this will look for you in this first month of training. Um, I broke it down a little bit before, but I really want to now kind of show you visually and explain what a couple of these terms mean. And so that you feel the right amount of confidence and assurity knowing what you're getting yourself into. So if you're looking at your accountability sheet, you'll see NASM OPT model phase one training plan. You'll see frequency of about 3 days a week. So if we're going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday for consistency, either I think in the morning is what worked for best for you. Um, the tempo is something that you'll get used to. It's pretty much as you're going through a movement, there is a generally most of the time, 99% of the time, there is an eccentric, like say that you're doing a squat. An eccentric is the part going down in a squat. The isometric, which you see here, is the hold at the bottom. The concentric is on the way up. And so if you see the tempo is at 4, 2, 1, there's three different numbers going in the respective order of eccentric, isometric, and concentric. So hopefully that makes sense. You're going 4, 3, 2, 1, holding at the bottom of the squat for 2 seconds, and then making your way up for 1 second. And then you're doing that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, shoot yourself up. And so that's a rep, right? Going through that one time around is a rep. And so we see here that we have 1 to 3 sets of each exercise and will range between 12 to 20 reps. If you are able to do 20 reps of one of these moves, you could probably go heavier in the weights. But we'll really try to focus on a good foundation for right now. So that is the focus. We wanna have a good foundation, you wanna feel good, you wanna make sure that if you're doing a shoulder exercise of some kind, that you're not tweaking your shoulder and injuring it more. We wanna reverse any pains and aches and anything before we start lifting relatively heavy. So we'll work on that beforehand. The rest periods, in between the sets, um, give yourself about a minute and a half at first. See how quickly you recover between the sets of the exercise, and then try to shorten it as the month goes on in each workout. Try to see if you can go from a minute and a half to like a minute and see where you are. Maybe be there for like a week or two, and then try to bring it down to like 30 seconds in that last week. We'll try to progressively bring that down. If it takes longer than that to bring it down, that's totally okay. We've got lots of time. That just sort of hopefully gives you an idea of where we would like to be with your a little bit of the cardio in there. So just to make sure you're recovering quickly, you're doing the workout sufficiently, give yourself about a minute and a half between the sets to recover, to replenish your energy, go in for that next set. And then you'll see under that is the equipment. So you will need dumbbells, cables. So you're at the gym. You're probably familiar with the whole jungle gym system. There are cables, cable pulleys, and like the single hand cable grips that you'll connect to the the pole there that shifts up and down, right? You'll put that at like halfway, at the halfway point, so that when you have a grip and you're pulling, this is one of the exercises for the total body focus day one, for instance, um, then you're able to pull effectively and release. So just trying to give a little bit of a heads up of what that looks like. So we have dumbbells, cables, a little bit of body weight exercises to start off with, and then a stability ball. Hopefully the gym has one of those. Um, is that will be what we do a lot of in phase one, trying to um, wake up the muscles like in your feet or in your stability muscles, um, because it snowballs into what we'll do in phase two. Nothing too much more complex in the balance realm, but we like to start off with stability ball exercises to build your foundation in that way. So, all right. So, what a proper warm up will look like is we'll start out with the foam roller and we'll just dive right on in. I'll show you um, how to foam roll properly. So, we've got this here. All right. So, hopefully, the gym has one of these. This will be super helpful for tight and unreleased fascia points in your hips, your glutes, your quads, your upper body, you name it. Like it's amazing to work with. And for instance, if we're just following the total body day one workout, you'll want to foam roll upper body and lower body. So Um, feel free to kind of check in with me if this is not easy per se, or you just kind of can't figure out exactly which points to hit. But hopefully these cues and what I'm about to show you will help it make sense. So, with the lats being not like in the armpits, but right behind the armpits, what you'll want to do is take one of these, have it at sort of an angle, downward angle, because then you'll want to lay on it. So I'm on my armpit right now. And then in order to hit my lat, I know I need to just rotate myself leaning back a little bit. Not that hard to find, I feel like. And when you do find a tender spot, sit on that for about 30 or so seconds, breathe through it. If you don't feel anything, that's okay. That, probably just means that you haven't really worked on them very much. For some people, they're just naturally really tight in the lat area or the chest, and so this just helps to alleviate some of that tightness. If you're sore and you feel tender after an upper body workout, then this will be good for reducing that soreness there. So if we're just here for about 30 or so seconds, breathing through it, I already feel it loosening up a little bit. I can kind of move and maybe dig in a little bit deeper. Very good. You'll do that same thing to the other side. So here I am on my armpit, and then if I just lean back a little bit, then I hit it right there. I feel a little tenderness right there, so I'm just gonna sit on that for about 30 or so seconds. I'm gonna breathe through it. You can move your arm a little bit up, you can move it a little bit down, wherever feels most comfortable. But basically, you're gonna be able to get a lot more range of motion in that part of your body, like so. Okay, so that's the lats. Next one that you'll really wanna get is the pec. So, it's right above your chest muscle, and it kinda hits your shoulder in the front. So, a lot of the things that people experience is, like, especially, being hunched forward, maybe if you're at a laptop, you notice that your posture isn't great, and your chest and your shoulder muscles kinda get tight right here. So, this is a great way to loosen that up, to give yourself better posture. So, you're laying down. It'll look it might feel a little strange at first, but so worth it. And you basically put that front part of your shoulder slash that front part of your pec right there, and you dig in until you feel that muscle there. And if you feel any tenderness or tightness, then you just sit on that for a little bit. Sometimes people don't feel it that much. Some people are like, oh my gosh, this is magic. So just find where you're at right now. Maybe it doesn't feel like anything early on, but um, after a chest day, shoulder day, whatnot, you might feel it a lot more. So we'll just get into the practice of finding where we're at, whether we're not sore or we're super sore. Just find where we are with this. So we'll switch sides. Very good. Next, what we'll do is start working on our back. So this one's a really good, um, I'd say, anti-arching exercise. So, again, with the whole posture thing, this is really good for correcting your posture. So if you're back here, put it on like the middle of your back. You'll want to make sure that nothing else runs into the roller, of course. Make your way up to the top. You can do a really good chest stretch right here too. Really good posture corrector. That'll feel really nice. Let that open up your chest. There we go. What we'll start getting into next is some of the lower body foam rolling. So we'll take this over here. Okay. So I don't know about you, but a lot of people who do a lot of sitting will have pretty tight hips, pretty tight IT bands on here on the side. Quads are pretty tender, and hamstrings might be um, kind of sleepy. So, and same with the calves. So we're gonna try and wake all of that up and get things going. And so what we're gonna do is we'll be here on our sides first to start out with. I will usually hit my right glute, so we'll go right into the glutes. I'll just spend a minute there, a moment there, I should say. Then I like to go right into the hips here, so we don't have to rotate too much. Now we're kind of um, straight up and down, getting the hips there. The biggest part, I would say, are the hip flexors. So right below like your hip bone, you can find your hip bone, you have your hip flexors. So you want to find that on here, move around. Might not be like directly under your hip bone, it could be a little bit lower. So it's right about there-ish for me. I feel kind of like it's stretching, like it's putting enough pressure to kind of like stretch things and push it all down, which feels really nice because here with the hip flexors, we're always like kind of pulling things up, right? So there might be some tension there, and this just kind of releases all of that tension there. You can kind of just rock back and forth around it. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about once you get really good at this. Then what we'll do is to kind of make our transition to the other leg, you can bring the foam roller down to your quads. This is where we'll hit both of the quads at the same time. Now you can rotate your feet out. So you can, if they're just facing straight down, you can rotate them out. That hits a different part of your quads, or rotate them in, and that hits a different part of your quads too. Um, so if I rotate my feet in, and if I rotate them out, it's great for waking up those quads if they've been kind of sleepy. Next thing that we'll do now, this one, kind of like the chest one, I'd say. Um, you might not really feel it unless on your hamstrings, unless if you've done a pretty brutal workout. So if in this first time you don't really feel much, that's okay. Just same thing with this, we'll kind of keep it in the practice so that when we do have really sore hamstrings, then we'll know exactly what to do with the foam roller to release it. Um, so we're basically just going back and forth. If you don't feel anywhere that's tender, then just kind of keep rolling it out. I personally feel kind of tender, like right there. So I'm just going to hang out on that spot, breathe through it, let it ease up a little bit. Maybe there's another spot. I want to dig in. You kind of really only need to hit each spot for about 30 or so seconds. We'll get to the other side. But don't be afraid to dig in. Put all the weight and pressure that you can in order to really dig in deep into the muscles as much as you can handle. The next thing, and this is pretty brutal for a lot of people, is the IT band on the side because no one really knows that that exists. And so, but yet we do, all the walking, and the walking is kind of what tightens things up. And so, as you become more attuned to your more athletic side of you, you'll want to make sure to keep the IT band nice and loose. But for so many people, they can barely touch it. It's so tight and it's so has been so ignored, yet it's like dealt with so much impact and so much compounding force over time that it needs a lot of work. You'll be surprised at attention needs, how much attention it needs. So basically, just think about from about your knee to about your just below your hip bone on the side here, is where you want to target. So if you're on your left side, just spend as much time as you feel like you need or as much time as you can bear. And we'll go to the other side. You can keep your leg straight down and just support yourself with your hands. So that feels pretty tender right there for me. So I could spend a couple seconds, let it do its thing, etc. So lastly, we'll get the calves. And same thing with these ones. Don't be afraid to give these as much pressure because you can totally just do this and be like, it's not doing anything. Um, Whereas if you put it one calf on there, hold or put the other leg on top, um, really push into it and start to dig in deep into the muscle there. You might be surprised. Oh, actually, yeah, they are pretty darn tender. This will help tremendously with unlocking the power in your ankles and in your feet since it's all connected there to the Achilles and fascia and whatnot. I mean plantar under the foot, whatnot. Um, so yeah, don't be afraid to dig in deep, find the tender spots, sit on them for a while, let it release, and we'll move on to the other side. Wanna dig in deep, find the tender spots in the calves. The calves deal with so much, they kind of deserve some TLC, and this is the best way to do that. Good massage. All right, so then what we'll need to get into next are the stretches. So you could either do this standing or seated. I'm just better angle from seated. So we're gonna do a full body stretch. And of course, as you get better and better at this, you'll breeze right through all of this much faster than where we are right now. But as we are just getting acclimated and used to how everything goes, then it'll take a little bit longer. So we're just stretching and stretching. We'll go above head. And if you need to be right here and you feel a really good stretch and this is good, then feel free to stay here. But if you want to dig a little bit deeper, get an even better stretch, you can lean off to the side. That starts to like get into the lats, working on that mobility there. Want to get the wrists, make sure you spend a little time here. At the same time, if you feel like something needs more time than what I'm giving it, feel free to take more time as you need for these different things because I have learned and seen that like the more above your health baseline you are, the more out of alignment with who you are, who you are at your core. There's some unraveling that you have to do to get there. So you got to unravel any aches and pains. You have to, yeah, fix some aches and pains, then start to rebuild your foundation, um, awaken the sleepy muscles, start strengthening those sleepy muscles. It's kind of a long, steady, but like such a process that's so worth going through to get you to where you want to be. So be very intentional about all of this stuff. Don't go, just go through the motions. Be very intentional about it. Okay. Um, Now, depending on how tight your hips are, doing this move right here is kind of the goal. This is kind of like where we want to get to eventually. If this is a little bit too much for right now, maybe just bring it down and just try to lean forward. This tackles both stretching out the hamstrings down here, but also the hips here. Just try to lean forward. Okay. Good, how are you? Yeah, another really good one to do is the butterfly stretch, really good for the hips. Now, it's okay if you're starting out up here, that's totally fine. The whole point is to be here, be present, stretch through it, eventually, see them kind of coming down. Even if it takes a couple weeks, this is very, very good for loosening up the hips. If it's too hard to go pretty close, you can always um, do it a little bit further out. Um, so we'll sit with that one for about 30 or so seconds. Try to come forward if you can. This one's really good for the hips. Um, Next one that we'll do is just straight forward. However, you really want to try and bring the toes back, bring the feet back so that you're really stretching out the bottom of your feet while also stretching out your calves here. So breathe through this. Might feel pretty intense at first, but we'll be feeling real good here soon. So you can even do some like windshield wipers. That's really good. You'll start to feel a stretch right along the side there. If you bring it over on this side, then you'll feel it on your right foot. Really give yourself a nice good stretch. Then, of course, we'll go right into quads. If this is a little bit too challenging, there's also this one here. So if you're in this position here, lean forward to stretch right here. Spend some time there. Come on back after about 30 seconds. Stretch the hamstrings here. Like, oh yeah, tight hamstrings, you know? And then all you gotta do is switch to the other side, do the same thing here. Go all the way forward, stretch out that quad there, and then come on back, stretch this part right here, hamstrings back here. Give that about 30 or so seconds. And those are some pretty good lower body stretches to start out with. Thanks. And then there's an optional light cardio to warm up your lungs, just get your body moving. If you want to do that before you get into all these stretches, you could do that too. Either way, get the heart rate going, start feeling good. Okay, let's see. And I will make um, the workouts style A, B, and C. So this is just kind of explaining the warm up here. So see ya in the next one.